In a world where ancient evils are very, very real, and countless demons and ghosts plague the mortal realm, a special unit was formed to hunt down these unholy spirits, but while some hunt evil, others try to control it, tapping into forbidden arts. Which brings us to this woman, frantically calling for help, begging someone to save her. This officer asks if it is a robber, but she screams, "No, I ran into something unclean, a pair of red embroidered shoes." Just a pair of ancient shoes she bought from a small shop on a trip, but ever since she brought them home, she has been haunted by this terrifying spirit. Hiding in her closet, she's completely losing it, telling the officer, "I already burned them, but it does not matter because they just reappeared at the head of her bed. How is that even possible?" She is begging for help, crying into the phone, "Officer, please, why are not you here yet?" Telling him she is hiding in the back room wardrobe when suddenly, the line goes dead. A chilling silence falls over the room and she can only whisper, "Oh officer," but a distorted voice crackles back through the phone. "ZZZ, so you are here." Pure terror takes over and she makes a break for it, realizing no one is coming to save her now. She manages to slam the door shut, desperately trying to lock it, but her heart stops when she takes a breath and looks through the peephole. Because the ghost is already on the other side, smiling right back at her. A creepy chant begins to echo, signaling the start of a horrifying ritual, and in the final chilling scene, she has become the ghost's new puppet under the blood moon. This cops finally show up, sirens wailing through the neighborhood, which is just great for our new MC, Wei Yuan, who complains, "I just moved here and there is already a neighborhood murder." He is only staying in this old house his late father left him, his one shot at finding a job in the city. But his welcome party is watching paramedics carry out a body bag from the house right next door. Just as he is processing the grim scene, a loud creak echoes from his own home. He immediately sprints inside thinking, "Do not tell me even my tiny dump of a place is worth a thief's trouble." Inside, everything seems normal, just an old family shrine his grandpa left behind. Except for one impossible detail. This ancient waste token is standing straight up and he knows he laid it flat. He picks it up, reading the inscription of an ancient order, the Silly Zaya. This second he touches it, the token unleashes the terrifying spirit of a massive ethereal tiger. He's completely stunned, wondering if his grandpa secretly left him some kind of divine artifact. Flipping it over, he finds his own family name, realizing this is an heirloom passed down from his ancestors. A huge grin spreads across his face as he boasts, "So our ancestors were big shots, huh?" But in his excitement, he accidentally cuts his finger on the token's sharp edge. A single drop of his blood lands on an old scroll, activating a hidden seal. This scroll erupts with dark energy, revealing a chilling decree: "Whoever offends our lands, the Silly shall hunt and kill them all." He realizes it is a wanted notice, and the target at the bottom is a drawing of a pair of red embroidered shoes. His whole demeanor changes, a smirk crossing his face as he decides to get to the bottom of this himself. He hits the web for answers but finds nothing useful, just ghost stories and online shops selling similar shoes. But then it clicks. The token only reacted the moment the police were next door investigating the murder. Could it be connected? He peers out his window wondering, what is happening? Why did such a thick fog suddenly appear? When some invisible force yanks him right out of his room and he spots a faint red glow in the distance. He lands in a completely different place, an ancient courtyard shrouded in mist. This is definitely not his neighborhood anymore and he has no idea where he is. His senses are on high alert, trying to process the impossible situation he is in. He walks toward a massive, gnarled tree as a creepy chant echoes through the air. And that is when he sees her, the ghost from the wanted notice, dressed as a bride. She looks right at him, her voice dripping with reverence as she calls him, "My lord." Revealing her terrifying, twisted face, she asks if he knows who she is. She floats towards him, her voice a sinister whisper, "You really made me wait miserably." But before she can get any closer, the ethereal tiger spirit roars to life, ready to protect him. This entire vision shatters like broken glass and he is suddenly back on his floor, completely dazed. He wakes up with a start, checking his phone to see it is 3 a.m., the peak hour of yin energy. He dismisses it as a nightmare, but the aftereffects are way too real. As he gets up, a notification dings on his phone and he completely misses the pool of blood on the floor. An email. At this hour, talk about weird timing. It is an interview notice for a job at a folklore museum, and the pay is actually not bad at all. This next day, he arrives at the museum, which looks eerily familiar, already complaining to the boss about his travel costs. He calls out, looking around the empty entrance, "Boss," and a mysterious old man with a pipe finally looks up, questioning his title. This is gonna be one hell of a job interview. This old man gets right to it, saying, "Sorry, there is something I want to confirm with you first." His entire vibe shifts as he leans in and asks with a creepy grin, "Kid, are you afraid of ghosts?" Wei Yuan just scoffs, telling him to get real. "We are all materialists here, there is no such thing as ghosts." But deep down, he is getting a bad feeling, clutching that ancient token behind his back. He knows this interview is anything but normal, and he is ready for whatever this place throws at him. This old man sizes him up, thinking he is young and full of yang energy, so he should be fine. Right, he just shrugs it off, figuring since our boy applied at 3 a.m., he was basically asking for it. With that settled, he throws open a massive set of doors, inviting him to see his new work environment. And surprise, it is not a museum, it is a straight-up haunted mansion corridor. This temperature drops instantly, and Wei Yuan cannot help but wonder why it is so damn chilly in here, especially with these creepy paper dolls staring at him from the shadows. He tries to play it cool, complimenting the size of the place, but his guard is all the way up. He even gets distracted by a flat soda, completely missing the heavy atmosphere of the room, but the boss's mood darkens as he reveals, "This was my son's life's work." He then points to a small living area, and Wei Yuan, ever the curious one, asks to take a look. For a second, the old man hesitates, a flicker of sadness crossing his face, but then he tells him, "No, that is where you will be living from now on, go take a look." And that is when all the alarm bells go off in Wei Yuan's head. He knew a 3 a.m. job offer was too good to be true. He decides to scope the place out, ready to bolt the second he finds anything seriously wrong. But as he walks away, the old man whispers to his dead son, revealing our MC is the 4th person he has hired in just 2 weeks. Because it was not just the last 3 guys who saw it, even he saw the horrors last night. This mysterious knocking that starts in the middle of the night. This blood that begins to seep from the ancient walls, and the terrifying thing wrapped in a blanket that chased the last guy until he completely lost his mind. So you can imagine his shock when Wei Yuan pops out wearing that exact same blanket. Our boy just casually explains he was cold, leaving the old man absolutely speechless. This boss just chalks it up to his insane yang energy, figuring this kid is just built different. He hands over the contract, offering a decent salary just to keep the museum open. And Wei Yuan signs it without a second thought, convinced the place is safe since his magic token did not react. With the deal done, the old man prepares to leave our boy all alone in the haunted museum. But just as he is getting in his car, he has one last piece of advice. He tells him if he ever feels like quitting, just to let him know, maybe it is time to close the museum for good. Wei Yuan just brushes it off, still wondering why his token is so quiet here when it went crazy for the Red Shoes ghost. He smugly assumes the boss is just old and paranoid, completely oblivious to the army of vengeful spirits standing right behind him, including this absolute unit of a demon who is getting a little too close for comfort. It reaches out, its corrupted hand grabbing his shoulder, ready to claim its next victim. But the second it makes contact, the silly token erupts with holy light. This demon screams in agony, its hand literally burning as it screeches. No way, this guy's yang energy is off the charts. Wei Yuan whips around, brandishing the glowing artifact like a holy weapon, and sends the spirit flying with a supercharged kick, yelling, "There is something dirty here, eat this." He is actually loving this, yelling, "Nailed it, punching a ghost is like hitting a ball of cotton, it is so stress-relieving." But the spirit tries to make a break for it, leaving wet footprints as it flees. Wei Yuan gives chase, shouting, "Not that easy." This ghost begs for mercy, warning him, "Wait, this is my grandpa's turf, my ghost bros and sisters will not let you off." And speaking of ghost bros, 2 other spirits are just chilling in the corner, sipping on some cola. Our boy ignores them and just unloads on the first ghost, who screams that he can still be rescued. But his friends are not about to mess with this kid's insane yang energy, deciding, "Right, let us just drink our cola." Wei Yuan finally spots them, a wicked grin spreading across his face as he says, "Oh, so there are more dirty things over here." He proceeds to give them a beatdown with their own soda bottles as they cry for him to stop. These 3 ghosts are now huddled together, sobbing about how they have never met an exorcist who could actually hit them. After calming down, Wei Yuan realizes these are just harmless wandering souls who have never hurt anyone, which makes him wonder, if he can barely see these weaklings, what is he gonna do against a real monster? Right on cue, the token reveals a new secret. Silly Zai members can slay demons to earn merit and unlock a treasury of demon-banishing weapons, a whole armory. Our boy is starting to realize just how big of a deal his ancestors were. This token then lists 5 different methods for him to open his yin eyes and see spirits properly. This first involves collecting the tears of an ox-fed graveyard grass, which he immediately rejects. Too expensive, pass. This second is even worse, involving a dead chicken and swallowing incense, and he is just disgusted. He does not even bother reading the third one, just screaming, terrifying, pass. This 4th one is so dangerous he just asks, is not there even one method that is halfway reliable? Finally, the 5th option, simply wiping his eyes with willow leaves soaked in morning dew, and he is sold. This one's good, I will go with this. He figures since he is stuck in a haunted house, he might as well open his yin eyes to see what he is up against. This only thing he is missing is a yin object, and he gets a wicked idea, staring at his new ghost roommates. His first targets are these 2 little radish spirits who are trembling in fear, but he is not a total monster, patting one on the head and saying, "No, I am not heartless enough to dunk you 2 in there." Instead, he turns to the 3 bigger ghosts, telling them it is their turn, and they absolutely lose it. But his confidence immediately shatters when he sees the junk they are carrying, a rotten fishing net and a bottle of poison. He gags, "How am I supposed to use that?" He finally settles on the skeleton ghost's rusty dagger, which is at least less disgusting. With no other choice, he drops it into the bowl, and now all he has to do is wait for midnight. He tells the ghost to stay put while he heads out to grab a few things from his old place. But as he walks through the city, something stops him in his tracks. A family is grieving on the sidewalk, the mother crying her heart out for her daughter. He asks a bystander what happened, sensing a dark story. This man explains a young woman was killed in a hit-and-run, calling the culprit a heartless monster. This story instantly reminds him of the red-shoed ghost, but he forces himself to walk away, thinking it is none of his business. Back at the museum, he is finally ready to complete the ritual. This ghost just watched, totally confused, with one asking, "Kid, what are you?" He wipes his eyes with the enchanted willow leaf and his world explodes with spiritual energy as he yells. It actually worked. His ghost pals are still clueless, complaining that he cannot hear them and that his punches still hurt, but a cold smirk spreads across his face as he finally speaks. I could not hear you before, but now I can hear you just fine. His ghost pals are just as confused, asking, look, that girl he brought back, she's not saying anything, is she? Because the girl they are talking about is the red-shoed ghost and she is floating right behind him. Wei Yuan's blood runs cold as he realizes. The ghost really came to my door. I was still hoping it was just a nightmare. But the big green ghost, completely oblivious, tries to hit on her, asking, hey new girl, where'd you die? Wei Yuan screams for them to stay back, but it is already too late. This green ghost's eyes widen in sheer terror. As her hair shoots out like spears, impaling him through the chest, he gags, choking on her tendrils. Why you do not play fair? Before she lifts him into the air, ready to absorb his soul, our boy knows this is bad thinking. This dim-witted ghost is about to be turned into a vicious spirit. He has to stop it now, or he will have two monsters to deal with, so he grabs the enchanted dagger. He stands his ground, facing off against a spirit far more powerful than anything he has ever seen. Pulling out the silly token, he yells, I am counting on you, you'd better come through for me. This token erupts, unleashing a massive spiritual tiger that roars toward the ghost. It engulfs her in a blinding explosion of holy light, a direct hit, except it was a feint. He uses the blast as cover to leap over her and slice the green ghost free. This big guy crashes to the floor, finally released from her deadly hair. His friends immediately grab him, telling him to run while he still can. But Wei Yuan is completely exhausted, realizing the token drains his own strength with every use. He turns around only to be met with the ghost's true, terrifying face, and she is not happy. He is on his last legs, realizing he is getting seriously beat up for no good reason, so he tries to lecture her, screaming, hey, be reasonable, did not your parents teach you how to behave? But this ghost does not care about manners, unleashing her full, terrifying power. Our boy immediately regrets his life choices, thinking, why am I trying to reason with a female ghost? With no other options, he braces himself, declaring, since you are dead set on this, I have got no choice but to go all out. He pours every last drop of his energy into the token, vowing to drain himself completely if that is what it takes. But right as he is about to unleash hell, a massive bolt of lightning cracks the sky. This blast is so intense it completely throws him off his game. He is just as confused as we are, wondering where that came from, and just like that the ghost is gone, leaving nothing but a puff of smoke and a dark stain on the floor. His ghost roommates are in absolute awe, with one saying, that kid drove off a vicious ghost just by talking. But the skeleton ghost smacks him, explaining, get a grip, that ghost was clearly scared off by the thunder. Meanwhile, Wei Yuan feels his entire body go numb, completely hollowed out from using the token. He collapses to the ground as his new ghost family rushes to his side, calling him Grandpa. He wakes up a while later, tucked into bed, feeling the aftereffects of the fight. These ghosts are all gathered around, crying with relief that their grandpa is okay. He just smiles, telling them not to worry, he will be back to full strength in no time. As he recovers, the silly token begins to glow with a new purpose. It tells him that to truly advance, he must master at least one proper exorcism method, and it presents him with an ancient, powerful art known as ghost driving. He looks at his hand, still feeling the drain, but the token's message gives him a new mission. It is a divine art called ghost driving, which not only lets him command spirits but also borrow their abilities. And he gets a brilliant idea, realizing this haunted museum is the perfect training ground to build his own ghost army. But when he looks around, he realizes his new ghost family has vanished without a trace. Suddenly, he feels a familiar, chilling presence that makes his hair stand on end. He peeks over his bed and his blood runs cold. The red-shoed ghost is back and she is not leaving. So he decides to vet his ghost roommates, asking how they died. One drowned while fishing, the other drank pesticide by mistake. He facepalms, thinking, you guys died so carelessly, how are you supposed to fight? He knows that against a real monster like her, their skills in fishing and painting are completely useless. So he turns to the last one, the skeleton ghost, and asks, what about you? This ghost reveals he was a soldier who served under a legendary marshal, fighting pirates before waking up in the modern era. Wei Yuan's jaw drops. Wait, you were part of the Qi family army. He cannot believe a soldier from a legendary army is just a weak wandering soul after all this time. He asks if he knows swordsmanship, and the ghost confirms he knows basic army skills, but he is no general. A wicked smile spreads across Wei Yuan's face because this is exactly what he needs, a reliable soldier to pioneer his new art. He bows respectfully, asking for his help, and the skeleton ghost pledges his loyalty, calling him my lord. With his first recruit secured, Wei Yuan begins the ritual, chanting an ancient verse as golden energy crackles around him. He presses the glowing talisman to the ghost's forehead, sealing the pact with a single command, by this decree. It works instantly as he feels the soldier's soul being absorbed into his right hand, completely under his control. He clenches his fist, now wreathed in spectral energy, finally armed with the power of a ghost warrior. With his new ghost soldier ready, the spirit asks for orders and Wei Yuan smirks. It'd be rude not to respond since she came to us first. His ghost roommates are losing their minds, cheering. Grandpa's going to punish a vicious ghost, he has got guts. But our boy's master plan is to call the cops. He is actually pumped about it. This leaves his ghost pals completely stunned, asking, are you seriously calling the police to catch a ghost? He ignores them, connecting the dots. The original victim from the hit and run would not have these shoes anymore. He realizes the courtyard from his dream is a real place, a cursed ground that is keeping her soul trapped. So he boxes up the shoes, thinking they are the key to getting the police to help him find that location. And just like that, he is at the station, ready to file the weirdest report of their lives. He sits down and calmly tells the officer, "There's a ghost trying to kill me." This cop's brain just short-circuits, completely speechless. Wei Yuan knew this would be a tough sell, thinking it is not easy to get them to believe this. But just then, a woman with serious authority walks in, telling the officer, "Leave this one to me." This junior officer immediately snaps to attention, saluting with a "Yes, ma'am." She turns to Wei Yuan and tells him to follow her, and you can tell she is not asking. In her office, she casually lights a cigarette, not wasting any time. Then she drops the bomb, introducing herself as Zhou Yi from the Special Operations Unit. She takes a drag, asking if he minds the smoke, her eyes sizing him up. He plays it cool and she cuts right to the chase. "So you ran into a ghost." She notes he is not a professional, just a civilian, as he begins to explain the dream and the ghost by the well. Meanwhile, she is pulling up his file, seeing he is clean but lives near a place with heavy yin energy, making his story just plausible enough. She is thinking that after a ghost encounter, people usually get depressed, but he is acting completely different. And our boy can feel her eyes on him, thinking, "Why is she staring at me like she is trying to see right through me?" She cuts to the chase, asking, "Aside from the dream, are there any other signs? Because if not, she warns they will have to use other methods to verify his story." So he slides the box across the table, revealing the one piece of evidence they cannot ignore. He is thinking she better be a pro, or she is the one who will be having nightmares tonight. This moment she sees the red shoes, her professional cool completely shatters. Just then she gets a call. Her team reports the victim's original red shoes have vanished from a sealed site. They are baffled, realizing no ordinary ghost could break their talismans, wondering what this spirit is even trying to do. Right on cue, two new guys walk in, announcing their return to the captain. They introduce themselves as disciples from the Wyming sect, actual professional exorcists. Zhou Yi confirms they are her team members who were just reporting in from the field. This guy with glasses gets right to business, asking Wei Yuan to describe the courtyard from his dream in detail, but our boy just smirks, telling him, "No need, I have already prepared it," and hands over a perfect sketch. This exorcist's jaw hits the floor, completely stunned by what he is seeing. His teammates are confused, asking him what is so important about the drawing, and he just screams, "His drawing skills, they are actually better than mine." Wei Yuan just stands there looking smug like, "Of course they are." But Zhou Yi brings the mood right back down, explaining their real mission, to seize the moment and eliminate the ghost. She warns them that a vicious ghost is a human soul trapped in a state of pure agony, a fate far worse than death. She explains that for these tormented souls, destruction is the only true form of release. Just then her subordinate bursts in, having found the location, an old, abandoned opera house. With their target locked, Zhou Yi gives the order to move out immediately. But she stops Wei Yuan, telling him to go home because this world is not for civilians, though she senses he is hiding a secret. Our boy tries to protest, because there is no way he is letting them handle this alone. This exorcist with glasses cuts him off, handing him a talisman and telling him he'd just be a burden. But Wei Yuan hits him with a savage comeback. "Were not your talismans the ones that could not even hold her?" This guy is so triggered he just shoves another talisman at him, his professional pride completely shattered. His partner tries to rush Wei Yuan out, handing him a non-disclosure agreement to sign. As they turn to leave, he desperately calls out for them to wait. But in that instant, the entire room is engulfed in a thick, chilling fog. He is suddenly alone, the entire special unit having vanished without a trace. His heart sinks as he realizes exactly where he is. This fog parts, revealing an endless line of ghostly figures standing in silence. He's been dragged back into that nightmare dreamscape, now filled with the ghost's other victims. A familiar, terrifying voice whispers from behind, "You came again." He frantically searches for his token, his only defense, but it is gone. This red-shoed ghost appears right in his face, her twisted smile promising a permanent stay. She plunges her hand straight through his chest, her voice dripping with malice. "This time you will stay forever." He lets out a blood-curdling scream as the dream world shatters into a million pieces. He jolts awake, gasping for air as two talismans burst into flames above him. He realizes those useless scraps of paper from the exorcist are the only reason he is still alive. Checking his shirt, he finds it torn. That ghost attack was real even through the dream. His soldier asks if he is okay, but Wei Yuan is done waiting around, telling him, "I cannot just sit here and wait to die anymore." With a fire in his eyes, he declares they are heading to Jiangnan to take the fight to her. A few days later, he arrives at the exact courtyard from his dream, where a lone old man sits by the well. This old man is humming a creepy tune about a red bridal sedan, and you just know this is the place. Suddenly, the old man's eyes snap open, sensing his presence. Wei Yuan steps out of the shadows, introducing himself and saying he is here to ask about something. This old man seems unfazed, noting it is a rare sight to have visitors in his shabby little place. As he walks closer, the man remarks that surely other people must have come to visit before, but he coldly states, "Everyone I knew is dead. The younger generation stopped coming too." This sends a chill down Wei Yuan's spine, realizing how isolated this place truly is. But then he sees it, a mole on the man's face that triggers a memory, and he knows this is not a random encounter. This old man asks what is on his back, and Wei Yuan plays it cool, saying he is a musician collecting materials. This old man seems to buy it, inviting him to sit down for a chat, but our boy's inner thoughts reveal he is actually hiding a real sword from the museum in that case. This old man then casually mentions that a few other young people came by yesterday but turned around and left. Wei Yuan's eyes go wide. He is talking about Zhou Yi and the Special Operations Unit, so they found the right place, but for some reason the pros did not even dare to step inside. What are they so afraid of? His mind races, connecting the old man's words to the very layout of this cursed place. He looks at the tree, but with his spiritual sight he sees its true, sinister nature. It is a tree within a garden, a formation designed specifically to trap a soul, and with a ghost bound beneath it, this entire courtyard is a prison. This horrifying truth finally clicks into place and his blood runs cold. This old man, he is already dead. That is why the pros turned back. They knew this was a ghost domain, but Wei Yuan is not backing down, asking, "Sir, I want to ask you about someone." He is talking about the girl who once sang better than anyone in all of Jiangnan. This old man's eyes narrow. How do you know about her? But our boy just says he heard things by coincidence. This old ghost sighs, glad he will not have to take this story to his grave, and begins a tale from the Ming dynasty. It all started at an opera house where the madam adopted a young girl named Qinyang. She grew up to become a star, her voice captivating the entire region and making her famous overnight. She was supposed to retire and marry the man she loved, but fate had a much crueler plan. When pirates invaded, they demanded the town's most beautiful women, threatening a massacre if refused. Qinyang would have rather died, but over 30 people from her opera house knelt and begged her to save them. So she went, she sacrificed her honor for them, and not a single person she knew was harmed. But when the soldiers finally drove the pirates away, the very people she saved turned on her, pointing fingers and judging her. This old man's voice cracks with rage. They accused her of going willingly, called her a shameless whore with no integrity. Broken by their betrayal, Qinyang put on the wedding dress she'd made for herself and jumped into that very well. Wei Yuan is left speechless, realizing that no matter the era, human cruelty is a constant. This old man says on the day she died, it snowed so heavily it was like even heaven itself felt she'd been wronged. And as he speaks those words, snow actually starts to fall, leaving Wei Yuan completely stunned. In that same instant, the well erupts with a pillar of pure, unadulterated evil. He looks up in horror, realizing the full, terrifying power of the spirit trapped within. This scene shifts to the opera house at night, the sky torn apart by a violent storm. Inside, Wei Yuan stands ready as tendrils of pure resentment begin to creep into the room, and there she is, floating above him, the ghost of Qinyang, her rage made manifest. This old man's ghost appears beside him, crying out her name in pure anguish. Suddenly, Zhou Yi and her team burst in, screaming for the old man to stop, thinking he is a civilian walking to his death. But our boy knows the truth. She never realized the old man is not human, but a spirit born from centuries of guilt. This old ghost just keeps walking toward Qinyang, as if this is the moment he has been waiting for his entire afterlife. Wei Yuan stops Zhou Yi, hitting her with a cold question. If someone's only wish is to atone for a mistake, are we supposed to stop them? He challenges her entire worldview, asking if they even have the right to make that choice for others. This old man stomps his foot, declaring that even though he is old, he has something he must do. Qinyang's spirit, now a twisted monster, lunges straight for him, but he does not flinch, saying there are things he has never, ever dared to forget. Her hand phases through his chest, grabbing not a heart but the very core of his spectral being, and he falls to his knees, kowtowing and begging. Qinyang, it is little 15, kowtowing to you. He breaks down completely, sobbing that he is sorry that he was the one who wronged her all those years ago. Wei Yuan just watches, telling Zhou Yi to let him be, to let him finally untie the knot in his heart. Zhou Yi's eyes go wide, realizing this old man's guilt is the very heart knot of the vicious ghost. Wei Yuan explains that if she died from injustice, a sincere apology from the one who wronged her is the only path to peace. But Qinyang's face just twists into a demonic snarl, her rage completely unmoved. Zhou Yi realizes in horror that the apology did not work, not even a little bit. In fact, it just made her even more furious, her spectral form erupting with pure hatred. But the old man just smiles through his tears, accepting his fate. This is what I owe you, what I should have repaid long ago. As her power tears through his spectral body, he does not fight back. Instead, offering a single, preserved piece of candy he has held onto for centuries, his voice breaks. The candy you gave me, I have kept it all this time. I owe you far too much. And in that instant, a memory flashes, a kind, smiling Qinyang before the world broke her. We see her giving that same candy to him as a young boy, a small act of kindness he never forgot. He remembers the day she stood on the edge of that well, her red shoes a final, tragic statement. He remembers watching helplessly as she fell, his silence sealing both of their fates. Back in the present, his spirit begins to fade as he tells her, "So let this life pay it back to you." With one last peaceful smile, he says, "Qinyang, little 15 will go on ahead," and his soul finally scatters. As he vanishes, the storm outside unleashes its full fury as if the heavens themselves are weeping. Wei Yuan calmly closes his umbrella, saying, "His knot is undone, may you rest in peace." But Zhou Yi is panicking. "You meant his knot. The ghost's resentment is even stronger now. What do we do?" Our boy just looks down, his expression dead serious. At this point, he kicks open a hidden passage in the floor, revealing the darkness below. There is only one choice. Qinyang unleashes a storm of spectral hair ready to tear him apart, but our boy is not alone. A warrior spirit manifests, roaring, "My lord, allow me to help you." He meets her attack head-on, deflecting the tendrils of pure hatred. This spirit offers its own weapon, shouting, "My lord, take my blade." Wei Yuan grabs the spectral sword and carves a path straight through the darkness. He is now locked in a deadly dance with the vengeful ghost, steel against pure resentment. Zhou Yi's team can only watch in awe, realizing his swordsmanship was forged in real life-or-death battles. But she knows it is not enough. Mortal skills are useless against a ghost this powerful, and his time is running out. Her subordinate notices something's off, asking, "Captain, what is he trying to do?" Wei Yuan just keeps pushing forward, thinking he only needs to get a little bit closer. And then he is impaled, a spike of pure rage tearing right through his chest. He stumbles back, bleeding profusely, but he is not done, not even close. With his remaining strength, he slams the sword into the floor and calls out a name. "Fu Pengyi, never abandoned you." This ghost freezes, her rage faltering for the first time as she recognizes the name of her husband. Wei Yuan pulls out a stack of old papers, telling her, "These are his effects, and these letters are for his wife Wan Qinyang." These papers float towards her, each one a piece of a story she never knew. One is a letter addressed to his wife, stained with the blood of a forgotten battlefield. It tells of a man who loved his wife more than anything but had to defend his home from invaders. His last words echo through time, a promise to stand with his nation even if it meant never returning home. His final letter ends with a vow. "In this life there is no parting, only in death." As she reads those words, the heavens themselves crack open with a furious bolt of lightning. And for the first time in centuries, the ghost of Qinyang lets out a scream not of rage but of pure soul-shattering grief. Zhou Yi can only watch, whispering, "People talk about a lot of things, but have you ever heard a vicious ghost weep?" Her monstrous form recedes as she walks out into the rain, no longer a creature of vengeance. Clutching the letter to her chest, she whispers the name of the man she lost. Fulang. Zhou Yi is in disbelief, realizing our boy actually unraveled the ghost's heart knot with nothing but the truth. Tears stream down her face, washing away the demonic red from her eyes. Her spectral form solidifies, the hatred that twisted her for so long finally melting away. She falls to her knees and bows deeply to Wei Yuan, saying, "Thank you, young sir." He just looks down at her, his voice calm despite the hole in his chest. "Miss Wan, have you come back to yourself?" She can only weep, her voice filled with gratitude. "Thanks to you." Wei Yuan then asks the most important question. "Do you have any wishes left unfulfilled?" She looks up, the very idea of a wish seeming foreign to her now. She tells him that with her husband gone, she thought she had nothing left to live for, but holding his last words gives her one final desire. As the storm breaks and a rainbow appears, she asks, "I want to see the land he gave his life to protect. May I?" But just as she finds peace, a new voice cuts through the air, shouting, "Absolutely not." Some new guy in a yellow coat draws a sword on her, yelling at Wei Yuan, "Do not be delusional, we cannot be sure she is harmless." And without a single word, our boy grabs the blade with his bare hand, stopping it cold. Blood drips from his palm, but his grip is absolute iron. And in less than a second, he has already disarmed the fool, twisting the sword back at his own throat. This new guy can only kneel, admitting, "So fast, his swordsmanship is far above mine." He still tries to argue, screaming that a vicious ghost cannot be let loose, that the consequences would be unthinkable. But Wei Yuan just turns away, telling Zhou Yi, "I will make my own call. I am in your debt today. I will repay it another time." He then looks to Qinyang, who has been lost in her own world of grief this whole time. Holding an umbrella over her, he gently offers his hand. "Allow me to walk Jiangnan City with you once more." And so they walk through the old streets as the sun sets, a sight she never thought she'd see again. She reminisces about running through these very streets as a child, lost in a world that no longer exists. Pointing out old shops and noodle stalls, she paints a picture of a simple, happy life from centuries ago. But her memories are tinged with sorrow, as she recalls dreaming of growing old here with her husband, a dream that was stolen from her. They stop at a place called Auspicious Lane where she used to buy her favorite rouge. She sadly notes that the shop is closed, realizing that the world has moved on from such simple things. It reminds her of what her husband once said, that the world's changes are impossible to predict. Her heart breaks all over again, feeling like everything she knew is gone, that no one even sings the old songs anymore. But our boy looks at her and hits her with two simple words that change everything. They do. He explains that while the city has grown into a modern marvel, the old ways have not been forgotten, because the people who deserve to be remembered will never be forgotten. He leads her to a massive monument, telling her, "Look, these are the names of those who gave their lives for this country." And he explains that the spirits of these martyrs protect the living and that the people are grateful to them and to her husband. She gently touches the cold stone, her centuries of rage finally gone. Whispering her husband's name one last time, she finds her closure. Wei Yuan asks her, "Miss Wan, is there anywhere else you'd like to go?" But with a tearful smile, she just says, "No, her journey is over." And just like that, a golden light pulses in our boy's hand. A system notification confirming the vicious ghost has been dispersed and a new dossier unlocked. From a distance, Zhou Yi's team spots them, her subordinate pointing them out. But she stops the yellow coat guy from rushing in, telling him to just wait, because up at the monument, the atmosphere has suddenly changed. Qinyang turns to Wei Yuan, sensing something is wrong. "Young sir, there is still something you want to say to me, is not there?" His expression turns dead serious as he asks the one question that changes everything. "You have killed before, have not you?" This memory of innocent victims flashes through the air, a debt that was never paid. As lightning cracks the sky, it becomes clear this is not over. He draws his sword, a blade that houses a lost spirit capable of manifesting the power of monsters. He acknowledges her tragic past but reminds her of the choices she made as a ghost. His eyes narrow as he delivers the cold, hard truth: all we can do is choose. A massive spirit tiger erupts behind him as he declares his title. Those who kill must pay with their lives. I am Wei Yuan, silly Zai of Great Han. But Qinyang just smirks, her demonic eyes flaring back to life. I see, sorry, but I do not plan on waiting here to be killed. She unleashes her full power, ready to fight for her existence, and their energies collide in a massive, world-shaking explosion of pure power. This shockwave sends the others flying, with the yellow coat fool screaming. This is bad, but our boy stands his ground, completely unfazed by the pressure. This air crackles with pure, ancient malice as Qinyang steps forward. Her demonic form fully restored, but she says something that makes no sense. You are a good man, so I cannot bear to kill you. She lunges forward, not to tear him apart, but to grab his sword with her bare spectral hand, stopping his attack cold. Wei Yuan is completely stunned, realizing, damn, I still cannot break free. She is not overpowering him with rage, but with a strange, sorrowful strength. He can only ask, you, why? Because she knows he is a good person and she refuses to let him bear the sin of striking the final blow. This killing intent vanishes, replaced by a quiet, heartbreaking acceptance. With a sad smile, she asks, you wanted to hear me sing? I'd like to sing one last piece. Wei Yuan understands this is not a fight anymore. He simply says, very well, but instead of striking, he pulls out a zither, telling her, I will play to accompany you then. She bows, ready to sing the song that will be her last, and as she sings of dreams and lonely years, her voice echoes across the monument. It is a song of waiting, of a promise broken not by war but by something else entirely. But then Wei Yuan's hand stops. He looks at her, finally understanding the song's true meaning. Old Mr. Jiang has carried his guilt all this time. Her face hardens as she spits out the truth. It is over, but I do not want to forgive them. Wei Yuan just nods, his voice low. That is only natural. As her spirit fades into motes of light, she whispers, young sir, let us part ways here. And just like that, she is gone, leaving only her shoes and the letters behind. When Zhou Yi's team finally catches up, our boy simply tells them, her soul is shattered, returned to heaven and earth. But they are more shocked by the zither stand just floating there, asking how the hell he is doing that. And in a hilarious reveal, we see his spirits are literally holding him up, with one complaining, Grandpa, can you stop flexing? My soul's getting weak. He quickly hops off, trying to play it cool. Well, since you are here, I will be going now. But they are not letting him off that easy, demanding to know who he really is. He just walks away, dropping the coldest line. Just an ordinary man watching over a little museum. Feel free to visit. This story then cuts to a tour guide on a boat, talking about the old city's history. And we see our boy in the crowd, just listening to the stories of the past. He stands alone by the water, reflecting on all the tales of love and grace that have been forgotten over time. Looking up at the stars, he sighs, thinking maybe it is better that some things are not remembered. But the peace is shattered as we are thrown into a raging storm in the mountains, kicking off a brand new case. We meet our new protagonist, Fang Cheng, a 30-year-old mountain climber taking shelter in a creepy cabin. He explains his group of 7 hikers got caught in the storm and were taken in by a forest ranger's daughter. But of course he has to go outside in the middle of the night to take a leak. He finishes up, feeling relieved, completely oblivious to the danger he is in. Walking back, he sees the cabin light is still on and wonders why everyone's still awake at midnight. So he peeks through the window, and what he sees makes his blood run cold. He sees the ranger's daughter sitting at a mirror and calmly applying her makeup. He is a little weirded out, but mostly just thinks to himself, man, she is seriously gorgeous, until she pulls down her top, her voice a chilling whisper, what a perfect skin you're wearing. And the mirror reveals the horrifying truth, she is a skeleton wearing someone else's body.